Okay, I guess now it has started. Right. Okay, no problem. So yes, you people have told me security. Yes, you need to have database. Okay, doesn't matter as it depends on application, but yes, if you have millions of users, yes. Uh, okay, most of you are telling about UI. Yes, that is important. Great, no problem. So yes, moving forward. So you have like a lot of checkboxes before you like deploy such an application. As in, you have to take a lot of factors inside it. You have to also like take into account what is the security factors and what are the like major disadvantages people can face while you are deploy such things. So most of the things include like first of all you need servers because you need to deploy it first of all before like making it available to millions of users. First of all you should be able to see that one. So you should have server. Second thing is storage because because you will have data to store according to whatever your purposes of creating the application. Then third would be again you can say storage or database, something like that. Third can be user experience or UI. Both of them are like interconnected only. So user interface is more like coming into knowledge right now as in the present days, because in the previous years, or I would say in the past like 10 to 15 years, people didn't really care about user interface much, as in they're more focused towards what the website is about to do or like how the website is performing. They were more focused towards user experience. Now the world is also focusing on user interface, which is like how the website is looking on the front end. So that is why now we have more front end development jobs and all those coming up where people are more going into UI UX designing also. So even that is a requirement. Third one is security and software update, like a versatility, as one of you also said. That is fine, as in you have to also have mechanisms where you can easily update the application without having any downtime, as in you would have seen many websites going down after some period of time. So that should not happen. You should have some mechanism for that. And the third one is scalability, which is also an important mechanism, as in you should not restrict yourself to some particular 100 number of users. You should also have like sufficient resources to scale it to million users or something like more than that. So that's useful. Now that you have like all the resources in hand, you have deployed everything. Now you have like major decisions to make, as in you have put your money, you have taken all the resources. Now what will happen if so many users don't only come in the first place, as in they don't feel attracted towards your idea, they don't feel attracted towards your you can say the service or whatever you're providing, they're not attracted, then it's your loss of money, as in you would be losing your money. Then second would be like it's very expensive in these days to put up such an setup these days, and it's also risky, first of all. So these two disadvantages are there, as in the capital upfront cost is more, and second is that what if the number of users you are planning to aim doesn't come only itself. So to counter that, as in you have a lot of risk. So what you do is that cloud computing, where does it step in? Cloud computing actually basically provides a platform that gives you an access to a number of computing resources. Okay, so like it gives you resources and it has a pay as you go model. So pay as you go model is like whatever you use, that much amount only you have to use. As in, if you're using, suppose say one virtual machine or two virtual machines, you will pay only for that particular cost or what particular like amount you're using, instead of like other traditional computing processes where you have to pay monthly subscription whatever you do. Even if one user is coming, even if you are the only person accessing it, you have to pay that particular cost. That is not the case with cloud computing. You pay as you go, as in whatever you use, you like pay for that only. Second thing is security, because like cloud computing is mostly based on the security models as well. You have a lot of layers of security in that. You have like mechanisms deployed on the cloud which helps you to scale properly, which helps you to like deploy security mechanisms properly. It gives you cognitive services. Now cognitive services like text to speech, your image analysis, your handwriting recognition, face recognition, like most of you whosoever like terming it as AI, artificial intelligence. So all of like you people think like face recognition is artificial intelligence or something. So those are like broadly classified as cognitive services, where you have image analysis, handwriting analysis, and all those things. Then it also provides you serverless computing. Now, this is a broad term, as in even one of you have put it in Mentimeter, like, what do you mean by serverless computing before I covered it. So actually, serverless computing is nothing like developers don't deal with like machine management, as in it doesn't require much of a machine management, though like the name suggests serverless. So you would like you would have a doubt that server won't be there, but no, it's not like that. It's like management of machines is reduced in this particular approach. Now here you manage, as in you focus more on like your code, or your more like you're focusing more on your purpose rather than management, or like deploying your machine, configuring your machine. You don't like much, you're not much focused on that. And like again, serverless computing provides you pay as you go model, as in you only purchase or you only pay for those resources which you have used. Typically what happens, developers host their applications on virtual servers, and they have to set up and manage those servers, installing like operating system, as one of you also said before. So they have to take care about like different operating system. They have to provide that support for like all types of users. In serverless computing, it's not like that. You deploy your application, that's the main thing they want. They don't want you to worry about operating system and all. So that is how serverless computing works. So now, after we have discussed why is it important, and why is it like so hyped up in these days, now let's move forward to what this exactly meaning of cloud is. So cloud like actually allows businesses to share their servers. They allow them to share their networks, share apps, development tools, as well as data storage. So businesses use these clouds to like quickly get up their new ideas up and running. So it also involves protection of their data, or like they can also boast their creation of new products and services. So there's not just one cloud. Okay, like since I'm a MLSA, doesn't mean that I would be covering only Microsoft Azure. So there's not one cloud. There are multiple cloud service providers. You know about GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform. You have AWS services, which are also there. You have Microsoft Azure. You have multiple like competitors coming in the market, which are like IBM, Oracle, and even VMware is there. So most of the cloud service providers are there. The only thing where they like differ in their services, that their like security models, their like runtime, their uptime, or you can say as availability, how much time they are taking in availability, or what type of services they are providing. That is what actually creates the differentiation between them. So now coming up to like many businesses use a blend of resources, as in you like I'll be covering about types of clouds later, but it's like they do use a blend of cloud computing resources, which are currently in these worlds known as hybrid clouds. So they do buy a lot of services from multiple cloud providers, as in you as a user can use some services from Google, you can use some services provided by Azure, you can use some services provided by AWS, depending on your use case. And that is like how you call it as a hybrid cloud. So strategically, you have to see that what particular use case you want, what is your particular audience, what are you focusing on, and then you select the services, you select the pricing model, what suits as per your budget, and then you select strategically, and that is what cloud is for you. So in simple words, like after we have broadly discussed, cloud is simply a model of computing, like where servers, network, storage, development tools, everything is like cluttered, or you can say mixed up or provided into you into one single platform. You can say it as cloud. And it provides you ongoing maintenance. Some of all or all of these needs are handled by the cloud service provider. So I think I have a diagram. Yes, so like here you can see cloud is acting as a as a mid person in between the computing resources available and the users. So cloud service provider and all those people coming in come up here in the middle. So they provide you these services based on their company guidelines and all those things. So they provide you all these computing resources, which includes virtual machine, storage, database, and all those things, and it makes them available to users. So now we have discussed about cloud computing. Now we should also discuss about, we have discussed about cloud. Now we should also discuss about cloud computing. So it's more like delivery of computing resources available over the internet. And the main focus of this is faster innovation. Why this particular faster innovation is mentioned is because deployment of an application is kind of normal. Nowadays, it's considered as normal. More and more companies are focusing towards innovation. Because like most of the companies are there in the market, they are competing over their applications. They are like having the same ideologies. Their apps are built on the same ideologies. They are now focusing towards innovation. Which company brings in the first, who has the first mover advantage in the market? That is what they're focusing for. So building up a new feature, building up a new service for the users. They do integrate machine learning, they do integrate artificial intelligence, a lot of those recent paradigms, and then they bring up a new feature in the market such that their competitor is not able to keep up with the market, or like you can say they're not able to put that feature as good as their competitors. So they have to focus more on faster innovation, how quick they are able to come up with that. Also, like you can say accuracy is also important. Doesn't mean that you come up with a feature that doesn't work only. So faster innovation, and also second one is flexible resources. So it has to be flexible, as in it has to cater a lot of major type of audience, not just a specific type of audience. And then economies of scale, which is also like you have to scale your ideas according to the different pricing ranges, as in like in the market today, the pricing range changes every day, as in even like per minute or something per hour, the prices may change. So you have to be like economic in your choices, whatever you're using, whatever use like resources you're using from the cloud. You have to be economic in your choices. Then like major five characteristics of cloud computing are that you have to be connected to the internet. First of all, that is the basic requirement of cloud computing. So if you have internet access, you can have any free access to the cloud computing resources. So now free access depends on your provider. If you are using some paid service model, that doesn't actually count for free access. If you have internet and if you have a particular cloud service provider, you can use the resources for free. Even if it's free, they would have some limitation on the amount of data or the amount of computation you can use. So that is what you have to even look into. Second characteristics is that measured service, as in I covered this before, as in you have to pay as you go. Whatever you use, you have to pay only for that. Third one is on demand self service. Okay, so as and when your services are requested, you provision accordingly. You provision either you can provision manually or you can provision automatically. That completely depends on your particular company or what particular service you're using. So suppose say like I can give an example, like some companies they have their projects deployed on GitHub. So now when one of their employees, they merge their code into GitHub, it automatically gets deployed on the website and it is visible to the public, as in the public website. Some companies, what they do, they take the code, they analyze it. After it passes all the test cases, all the like checks and all of things, one person from the operation team actually updates those changes or whatever code in manually in the website. They don't have automatic deployment. So that depends on company to company whether they want to go for automatic or manual configuration. And fourth characteristic would be like a resource pooling, as in let me show you that by an animation. So on demand service we have, so shared resource pooling, as in again, so cloud often is a multi-tenancy model. So like single application is shared among multiple users. So as one of you again previously said about versatility, so it's shared among a lot of people. So it's not like one resource is used by only one user. One resource can be used by multiple users, and that too at the same time. So that is how it's based on shared resource pooling concept. So rather than like creating copy of the application, several users configure it according to a specific needs. So it's not like always you have to copy that whole application and you have to use. You can actually configure it according to your needs, and then you can start using that particular resource. And major, like you can say, advantages of this particular approach is that it provides you reliability, as in you'd face less errors when you're working on this particular model. And second one is security. So you would all know that you are aware that the security provided by platforms such as Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Alibaba are something like you can say you can be assured on, as in you will also pay money to actually use those resources because you are assured that these cloud service providers provide secure services. So that is what you can say advantages of cloud computing. So we covered reliability and security. Other you can say other advantages are scalability, elasticity. Again, elasticity is something I'll cover later. Agility is again one of the things I discuss later. Geo distribution is like data centers, as in how many data centers are available for a particular provider. As in, if I only talk about Azure, it has over 140 plus data centers distributed around the world. And if one of you can give me like why geo distribution is important, that would be great, either by unmuting or by giving it up on Mentimeter. So even if you're not able to, that's fine. Disaster recovery is like when cloud goes down, as in some attack happens, because these are also important. It's not like everything is greener or everything is like good to go, everything is like advantages here. Everything has pros and cons. So here also disaster recovery has to be there, as in some mechanism has to be there that when an attack happens, data doesn't get lost or data doesn't get you can say leaked to some hackers or some you can say people who are unethically hacking. So there has to be disaster recovery also. So it provides you a disaster recovery. That is what the point is. And now coming up to why cloud computing, we discussed the need of it. Now we can discuss about why cloud computing. So one of the things is that you can buy stacks of servers and other hardware components. You can like consider website traffic changes and scale accordingly, as we discussed in a scenario we discussed previously. You can scale it easily for millions of users or whatever your audience is. And then you can maintain and upgrade the servers easily. You can monitor also. Monitoring is very important, as in if I can give an example, you would have made a lot of school projects, you would have made a lot of projects in your college time, whether you are in first year or second year. Now how many of you are actually monitoring your previous projects, or are you focusing more on your recent projects? So monitoring is important because like your previous projects will not work as efficiently as they were when you made it recently. So you have to also keep monitoring it, you have to keep updating it, you have to like if you're using any npm package or something, like if you're like mainly working on React or Node.js project, you have to keep updating your packages, and you have to keep like updating the syntax if there are any changes. So you have to like monitor all of your projects time to time so that they work efficiently even after say suppose say 5 years or something. If you go and visit that website, it should be working. Reporting also is one thing where you monitor what specific audience you are getting, as in you're getting audience more from India, you're getting more audience from like specific locations, so you can actually take feedback, mostly like it's like feedback what your customer wants, you can do the reporting as well. Then fifth one would be like recruiting security professionals. So this I would say that this is automatically, as in based on your cloud service provider, they have their own security professionals, as in they can provide you security automatically. Otherwise, you as a company, you can also employ your own security professionals to manage those things. And yes, so these are like some animations on the same where you can actually scale your ideas. You have geo distributions, and you can have any as an app versions or something. As in models can run on PCs, models can run on your phones, models can run on your tablets. So they are device independent basically. So cloud computing is efficient in those things. So basically, like whatever hard computing task or whatever like more tasks which are requiring resources, you can transfer it to cloud so that you don't waste much of your time or you don't waste much of your resources in the device which you're using. As in, if I give you one very intensive task and if I tell you to run it on your laptop, it might happen that your battery might go down, or it might happen that your battery get drained very quickly or something. So now what we do here is that we do transfer some of our hard computational tasks to cloud. We perform it there, we fetch the results using an API, and we show them in your like whatever device you are using or something, so that you don't waste your resources, your personal resources, rather than you are using some shared resource pooling which is happening on cloud. So that is how it helps you as an you can say reserve your own resources. So benefits of like cloud computing are like performance is one of the thing. You get really upgraded performance. You don't face any lags, or you don't face any kind of you can say any lags, or you can say you don't have any kind of delays. Latency is not there. In most of the deployment factors, or most of the other traditional computing processes, you face a lot of latency. You face like as in for some specific locations, you see that the website is updated, but for in like you can say foreign nations or something, like in remote areas, the website is still shown in the older version or something, like website data is not updated. So that is how like on the scale of performance, cloud computing is really like it provides you a lot of benefits. Then productivity and reliability is again what we covered. Okay, sorry. Yes. So then is cost, again cost as in like cloud doesn't is very is it isn't very expensive, as in if you are using it in for in company specific role, you don't have much expensive models in these days, as in everything is much cheaper these days than you expect it to be. So the cost is like very you can say very resource specific, and since it pays as you go model, you don't have to worry about anything. Whatever you use, you only pay for that. Speed is one thing which again it comes very naturally, as in you heard about all of these things. Speed would obviously naturally come to all those applications. Global scale, again geo distribution is there, so you can scale it accordingly, as in you can scale it to multiple countries, you can scale it to multiple areas, wherever you want to scale, you can scale that. And you don't require more computing power, as in doesn't mean that you have to put in more servers, you have to put in more database storage or anything. You have to like only provide some scaling mechanism so that it scales to a lot more users and caters a lot more audience of your application, whatever you're targeting. So these are some of the you can say differences in traditional computing and cloud computing. So there is a heavy upfront cost in traditional computing, and it requires a high maintenance. Cloud computing is, on the contrary, a cheaper upfront and doesn't require a initial maintenance cost, as in it doesn't require any maintenance cost. Just that you have to keep monitoring over and over again. If you leave that model in a running state, suppose say in Azure, it happens a lot that you don't monitor the progress very, you can say sincerely, then your resources might get exhausted, and you might get a really hefty bill coming your way. So it has happened with one of our like really acquainted senior, where she left her chatbot service open, and she was like she had to withdrew her some of the Azure credits provided by Microsoft. So that was kind of, you can say, a risky moment for her, because she had free credits from Microsoft, so she was saved, as in she didn't have to pay money. But had it happened to an actual person using Azure, he would have got the money, as in something like 30,000, 50,000, like that bill coming up to his home. So that would have been a risky situation. So the only thing is here you have to monitor over and over again. There is vendor dependence. Now, this is not a bad thing. Vendor dependence we'll discuss in coming slides, where we'll see what services they offer. So here, either vendor controls your services, or you as an owner can also control your services based on like if you want more customization, you can have more control over your resources. Otherwise, if you feel you are very small scale company, or very using for a small scale demo kind of purposes, you can let the vendor depend, like vendor provide you all the services. So it's like kind of scalable in that. And third one is easy to implement. It takes very less time to set up. You can say a virtual machine, you can set it up in less than 5 minutes on Microsoft Azure. Then there is less customization and flexibility. Again, it depends on the model you use. If you use an like a different architecture or different kind of a computing resources, it depends on how much customization it provides and how much flexible it is. Then it is obviously more stable and consistent. So like today, cloud computing means that companies can scale and adapt at like speed and scale. They can accelerate their innovation. They can like drive their business agility, and they can streamline their operations, reduce costs. So all of these are like all of the advantages like are provided by you from cloud computing. And it not only like helps you like through current crisis which you are facing during COVID-19, where you are like most of the companies are facing cost cutting, and you are like facing a lot of issues where you have to like work from home, and people are facing it difficult because like most of the companies don't have it on cloud. Most of the companies don't use a cloud computing model. So like they have problems on accessing their files. They have to access their personal files which are there on laptop or something like their company device. Had it been on cloud, they could have used it very quickly, or they could have used it very easily. So same way, like for student specific, now that you are here, I am sure you would have used Google Drive or something like Microsoft SharePoint, where you are accessing your files. You are easily like just logging into your account and you are sharing your files to anyone of your friend or any of your classmates very easily without having even the hassle of downloading the file. You just have to share the link and that person only has to download it from their side. So now jumping up towards like types of cloud, which I said before, you have majorly three types of cloud: private, hybrid, and public. These are self-explanatory. Still, we'll see that what each of them has inside them. So private cloud is like it is great for organizations like that are more concerned about sharing resources on a public cloud. It is like implemented. It is like implemented on servers owned and maintained by organizations, and it can be accessed over the internet, or it can be accessed through a personal, you can say a personal internal network which you have for the specific company. You can access it via that, or a public internet also you can use by that. But the only you can say a catch, or the only difference here is that you have particular IAM, as in you have identity access management here, which is properly employed over here. So that based on your particular account, particular permissions would be there so that you can access only those particular files. Rather than in public cloud, you would have everything open or most of the resources open. You can access anything from anywhere. Private cloud is more like based on your role, whether you're manager, whether you're employee. Based on that, resources would be shared, or based on that, specific controls should be given, such that you can perform delete. If you're an employee, you can't delete anything. You can maybe add anything, or maybe for specific resources you can edit anything. So like based on your role, they can you can like access those things. Private cloud environment like gives you a complete as in control over security most of the times, as in you have a very good control over security, and it can be physically located at your organization's on site, or it can be hosted by a third service provider. As in it's your choice. If you want it inside your organization, you can say premises, or if you want it hosted on a third service provider, it's your particular use case, or it's your particular choice, I can say. So now coming up with sorry, I think the cursor. Okay, yes, no problem. Public cloud, yes. Public cloud is more like connecting to a public cloud, which is like meaning you just need an internet connection to access computing resources. And it's mainly like public cloud is mainly for third-party cloud service providers. Rather than you have owning and maintaining these resources, you don't have like much of an ownership here. You don't have much of maintenance over also here. You just have an internet connection. You go to an provider and you access those resources, and you can also share it easily. As in public cloud, sharing is also enabled, and delivery over the internet is also very easy. So this is one and differentiator for public cloud, where everything is kind of open, you can say. And the largest, as in the largest cloud servers, cloud service providers present in these market, as in the present market, you can term it as hyperscalers. Now all these terms you might seem it as very complicated, but once you like start coming up into this field, or once you start coming up into that particular area, you will hear these words also. So hyperscalers is the word where which is given to the present market leaders, or you can say the major cloud service providers. So the big four hyperscalers in the current market, which are also known as MAAG, such as like you have Fang and Mang, like you would have heard a lot, Meta, Amazon, and all those like companies where you do go up after for your placements, you do aim for them, super dream companies. So similar to that, we have MAAG here, which stands for Microsoft Azure. Uh, M stands for Microsoft Azure. A stands for Amazon, which is AWS services. Second A stands for Alibaba, which is Ali Cloud. And the fourth one is G, which stands for Google Cloud. And other like you can say the other coming up cloud providers include like IBM and Oracle. So these are like recently discovered and they are like recently developing their services. So these are not like you can say currently included it as hyperscalers. The four are really like in the market from a really long time, a really long period of time. So they are like very scaled up and people like you can say even 80% or 90% of the shares are held by AWS and Microsoft Azure alone. So that is one differentiator about them. Hybrid cloud, as I like discussed earlier also, it is just a simple, you can say, and you can say it as a combination of public and private cloud. So it is like frequently in combination with on-premise infrastructure, or you can say it as you can set it up according to your use case. As in if you want it on-premise or if you want it using a third service cloud provider, specific you can say sections of it is public, specific sections of it is private. So most of the I can say client side, which is the front end, or you can say account creation or anything like that, that is mostly public. Whether the back and mostly the back end, which is where the actual work happens, that is mostly kept private. So that is what like hybrid cloud, that is a use case which is mostly famous these days. So in the past, as in current market, sorry, in the past, like where the current market, we have very changed as in very fickle-minded people. So in the past, hyperscaler were choosing public or private rather than now we have like more private market over here. In the past, it was like hyperscaler meant picking public or private. This is like not no longer any case of similar to that. So to support like performance, like data gravity requirements, hyperscalers are now also offering private. I like discussed in the previous slide about like major cloud service in the category of public, but now they are also looking up into private services as well. So now coming up here are like VMware, which is on AWS. So that is coming up in the market. You have Azure VMware Services, which is also known as AVS. You have Google's SAP, which is also in the market, and bare metal, which are all like solutions, or you can say good examples of these particular hybrid cloud mechanisms. So like these blurring of like public and private under a hybrid cloud umbrella is likely to accelerate in the future because companies are scaling at a really great you can say rate. So they can have like both the use cases at the same time where they are using private cloud, they are using public cloud. But instead, like you can say after a period of time, this particular categories would be changed to dedicated and shared clouds. So you will no longer have like private, public, hybrid, rather than you would have dedicated clouds and you would have shared clouds. So that is what the categorization would change after a period of time. And one thing which I have not mentioned here, which is like multi-cloud, that is also coming up in the recent days, which is like you have a particular case of hybrid cloud only, where organization use services from multiple providers. As in you have Google, Azure, Microsoft, like Microsoft, Azure, Google, and AWS. They use services from multiple cloud service providers. So that is what like multi-cloud approach is basically. And now coming up to the service categories like SaaS and PaaS, IaaS. So these are all the service categories which are provided in like these particular scenarios where you would have like you can see on the slide where you have hosted applications, you have deployment tools, operating systems. All of these are catered inside these particular service categories, or you can say services provided by different providers. So based on that, you have like a particular, you can say these are the particular service categories and examples based on that. So like this is the you can say a zoomed view of that particular chart. So as I said that you have vendor dependence, as in what particular use cases you have to use, that is in your hands. As in if you want the company or you want the vendor to manage it for you, you can go for like you can go for SaaS, which is like more of a vendor dependent side. You can see like most of the yellow colored boxes here are managed by Microsoft, and the only application side is managed by your own organization. So if you want more vendor dependence, you will use a software as a service. You can say that particular service. If you want more customization, if you want like more of your control over it, you will use IaaS, which is infrastructure as a resource, a service. So it's more like you handle applications, you handle the data, runtime, middleware, and OS is handled by your organization. whereas you are dependent on virtualization, server storage, and other networking things to Microsoft or any other cloud service provider. You are dependent on that. And on premises, like you have a complete control. That is like excluded case of cloud, where you don't have any dependence on cloud service providers. This is not included in cloud, as in this is not a cloud particular use case. So these three are the main service categories which are prevalent in these particular days. So based on like your particular company size, or based on your particular services, you can actually cater to any of the service categories you want to cater to, as in you want to choose for. So this is a very, like you can say, an easy example. You can say a very layman term to understand what IAS and PAS or SaaS is. So like you all are pizza fans, I'm very sure that you must have heard about it and you must have ordered it also sometime or the other. So like you can see it as an if you like go for a traditional on-premises deployment, you will have a made-in-house pizza or something, like where everything is dependent on your, as in kitchen is you're using the gas, you're using the oven, pizza dough is your, toppings are yours, and you're even cooking the pizza in your particular oven or gas, whatever you use. Sorry, slide is changing. Yes. So particularly everything is dependent on your. Whereas in infrastructure, kitchen, gas, oven is everything is vendor managed. As in this is more like a kitchen as a service. As in you're just going there and you're cooking there. As in mostly it's dependent like customized pizza. You can say that you're using their kitchen, gas, and oven to make your pizza. Other like main things which are like pizza dough, toppings, cooking the pizza, it's more like your own customized thing. Platform as a service is more like walk in and bake, as in pizza dough and everything. You can't select the crust, as in most of the people here must be very much specific or about their crust, whether it should be thin crust or something like other a crust. I'm not very like kind of a guy who is more like I'm not familiar with those crusts, but like you don't have much of customization there, as in you see customization is reduced. You just have your say in toppings and how you cook the pizza. You can manage those things. SAA is completely like going to a restaurant and ordering the pizza. So you just make an order, you go sit to your particular table, and you just wait for your pizza and you have it. So that is like an ready-made model, you can say. So you don't have to do anything. Everything is provided by the vendor. You just go there, you focus on what you want, as in different type of pizza are available. You select your pizza, they make it, everything, every like dough, everything they make it, they give it to you. So that is what software as a service means mostly. Everything is vendor dependent. You don't have to do anything there. So security is also one thing, because security plays an important role in these days. It has to be taken very seriously, and it depends on a multiple things. So since like DevOps is a model, as in DevOps is one of the paradigms which is coming up recently, you have also to look up into cloud security and all those things, where you have malware attacks happening, you have privacy attacks happening, you have hijacking of it, you have hijacking of accounts, and all those things are happening very frequently these days. So you have to look up into like mechanisms where you can actually secure your data, where you can put up, you can say you have a backup of data, you have like specific mechanisms to detect, and you can say like you can say you have a particular platform where you can actually use it as a alternate, or you can say you can shift your particular users to that particular platform. You should have particular you can say plan B ready for that. So if you are only dependent on your plan A, if it fails, what is your plan B? That doesn't have to be framed after you face any crisis. It has to be ready and working as soon as you face your crisis in plan A. You have to shift it at you can say instantly, almost instantly to plan B. So cloud security has to be maintained, and like a lot of you can say attacks are happening, like denial of service attacks are there, malware attacks are there, hijacking is there, and even you can say VMware attacks are also happening these days. So all of these has to be catered for, and like you, it's better if you don't like not only depend on the providers. It's not like, okay, I'm using Google's or Microsoft's you can say services, so it will be most secure, I don't need to do anything. It's not like that. You have to be also cautious about your data, whatever you're putting up into resources. You have to be cautious about that, and you have to also take precautions, or you also have to take measures from your side, so that if anything happens, rarest of the rarest it happens, nothing is lost from your end, or nothing bad happens to your organization. So now these are all the major cloud service providers, as in AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. As I also said before, that being an MLSA doesn't mean that I would be promoting Microsoft services mostly. It's my duty to tell you everything about that. So AWS is one of the popular services present in the market, and it's provided by Amazon, and it has the first mover advantage as well, because it came up in 2010, and it's like a really good service. You can say it's like performing really well these days. You have 90% of the companies which are dependent on the same. Whereas Microsoft, it has like more, you can say audience, I would say Fortune companies, like 80% of the Fortune companies depend on Microsoft Azure. So that is where actually the, you can say, differentiator comes in. And Microsoft Azure is like it's like more of a, you can say, Microsoft provide services, and it actually provides you services which are PaaS and IaaS. So both of these services are offered by Microsoft Azure. So that is what actually you can say as a differentiator, where like it provides you both of the services, so you can cater it accordingly what particular you want. So you can do according to that particular use case. You can select your provider. And not only those three, as we discussed earlier, you have Oracle, Heroku, you have IBM, you have Salesforce, you have VMware, and like almost many services are coming up day by day. That is how competition is also, you can say, increasing day by day. So these companies are like have to focus on their services. They have to work on their servicing. They have to work on their monitoring processes, and all those things have to be catered for, so that n number of competitors come in the market, their competition, or you can say they don't have to, deploy to something which is not ethical. As in, companies do employ for something which is unethical also sometimes, but that is very rarest of rarest case. So it doesn't happen mostly these days, because these providers are very advantageous. Every platform services, like they do have a specific audience only to cater. It's not like they would be coming up into the market without any kind of ideology in their mind. So it's like very user specific, very data specific. It's very location specific also. So Microsoft Azure and AWS are mostly like they have a global geo distributed use case where they are spread across the world. Now I would like to address geo distribution now, particularly now. So suppose say you have your website deployed on an Indian server. Now suppose say something happens, like Indian server goes down. So what would you do, as in you do you have any plan B ready for that? For like if you use AWS, Microsoft Azure, yes, you surely do have plan B. You can move your particular resources to a specific location outside of the India, or you can scale it something to outside of the, you can say, other particular other country or other regions which are you can say available, made available to you by the provider. You can shift your particular things to there, as in central US is there. You can have East Asia, you can have central India, you can have like other options are available over there. You can scale your platforms over there, so that it keeps on running, it doesn't goes down, or your users don't have to face any lags or latency over that. So geo distribution helps in that way. You can scale to any location, doesn't matter, as in doesn't is it isn't compulsory that you are an Indian based company, you can only scale it on Indian servers. No, it's not like that. You can scale it to any particular thing. And you can see what the reports say, as in AWS is leading with 79% of the like public cloud adoption is with AWS, and Azure is not very behind, as in the Microsoft service is like at 76%. So like both of these companies are like competitors of each other, and they are like working on their services day by day and improving also. So, so now coming up to like specifically about Azure, because I said it provides both PaaS and IaaS. So it's important that you know about these things. And Microsoft has like leveraged its cloud platform to a lot of capabilities, as in to existing market, to existing users, and it provides you reliability and like you can say security models, which I'm talking from a long time. So it is very secure, as in it has specific provisions for security. So it has a lot of particular, you can say, services which are dependent upon security models. So you can use them, you can integrate very easily into your existing applications, and you can be carefree about your security as in maintenance. That is only if you're a small scale company. Once you scale very as in a large scale company, you have to also personally, as in you should have personal involvement in the monitoring process as well. And like Azure provides an ever expanding array of products and services which can meet all of your demands. Okay, you say it and you get it in Azure. It's like that. It has hybrid capability and it has worldwide access. It's very flexible platform with more than 200 products, and still they are not stopping. They are like developing more and more products day by day, and they are coming up with that. So that is one good thing, that they are not stopping their sales and they are working on it day by day. So, like Microsoft also offers through Azure tips for determining if the Microsoft Cloud is the right choice for your organization. As in, very few cloud service providers do that, as in they provide you tips why it is the best right choice for an organization. So Microsoft Azure is capable in that. It also provides you tips for that. So Microsoft Azure is just, you can say, a simple cloud provider. Okay, it's very simple, as in I don't want to go with textual written things on the PPT. It's just a simple cloud service provider, which is made you available by Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft maintains this whole whole growing directory of Azure services, and more are being added over time. So it includes virtual machines, as we discussed before. Okay, so it includes like VMs, what you would say it as. You have SQL databases, you have Active Directory domain services. Now, what you mean by that? It is actually managing the group policy, authentication, everything else. So that is what Azure Active Directory domain services mean. It also caters to application services, Visual Studio team services. It has storage facilities, which include your global infrastructure, providing safe and accessible data storage. And these are like broad terms, I can say, for you to as in look into. There are a lot more as in user specific, you can say, services provided by Azure. We'll see it through a diagram. So major things I would like to cover here is that Microsoft Azure launched in February 1st, 2010. Most of you don't know, but it was like previously known as Windows Azure. Then it later got renamed to Microsoft Azure, and it's free to start. It provides you pay per use model or pay as you go model, as you say it as that. As I said before, 80% of the Fortune 500 companies use Azure services. They are very confident to use Microsoft services. One of the major features is that it supports multiple languages, which include your C Sharp, Node.js, Java. It also caters to a lot more, which is .NET. It also caters to PHP and all those languages also it supports. So it has a multi-language support there, and this globe represents geo distribution. Okay, nothing else. So geo distribution is again a thing. And yeah, as the R Satya Nadella, which is the Microsoft chief executive officer of Microsoft, he says he terms Azure as being built as the world's computer. So he terms Azure as that. And this is what geo distribution means. As in you have 40 40 data centers available in across a lot of countries. It's like it's like scaling to a lot more countries. You have like available regions. They have announced some of the regions where they would be working. There would be, you can say, distributing their services to. They have announced in 2022, 2023 also. So they would be scaling up to that those particular regions. And yeah, it's like scaling day by day, as in it's not stopping. And now coming up to Azure services. So again, we can broadly like term these services into these four categories. It's computing, networking, storage, and database. Let's skip this and we'll see the diagram. Okay, so like based on, as I said, your particular category, you have a lot of features. As you can see, your whole screen is filled with a lot of services provided by them. In particularly data, if I see, you have SQL database, you have NoSQL database, you have relational databases, you have document based databases, you have data lakes, you have like data storage mechanisms, you have like search facility, you have Redis cache, you have tables facility also. So these are all data specific. Whereas coming up to like analytics and IoT, you have mobile engagement, you have machine learning, you also have blockchain, which I don't think it's mentioned here, but you also have like AI and blockchain specific use cases. You have a data factory where you can also do a lot of things, where you can build a lot of projects and you can do those things. Most of the very, you can say, famous thing, which is your Visual Studio, is a developer service, which is mentioned on the top right corner. So Azure SDK is also a thing. You can work on team projects. It gives you application insights. So a lot of services are there for you to explore. And all of this is not available on different, you can say, different platforms. One platform is there and it is sufficient for you to cater all your needs. And we'll look that particular platform in the demo also. So yes, billions are invested in this particular, you can say, this cloud computing or this cloud computing service providers. Billions are invested. Now, this is one of the, you can say, data center of Microsoft, which is based in Seattle. And this is one of the data center which you can see has a lot of, you can say, a lot of floors. It has a lot of sections and it has a lot of, you can say, servers which are running very, you can say, seamlessly inside these particular platforms. So you can have an inside look also. This is one of the data centers of Azure. So they are monitoring their servers. They are also, you can say, providing scalability, and they are also looking up into cooling mechanisms. Okay, because if you have physical servers, you also have to look into cooling mechanisms. This is very specific, as in you have, as in it's very, you can say, you can say an offline kind of a thing, as in cloud and all. It is very much online, as in servers, virtual machines are all online running. Servers and all these are like, these have to be catered for, like how many human interactions is there and how much cooling mechanisms are there. So they have to look up into that also. And in like recent things, Microsoft is also planning to move some of its servers deep down into the ocean. Okay, it's one of the missions where like they are experimenting on, or they are like trying it on, where they are like putting up their some of the servers inside the so seen like capsule, you can say. So it they are like deploying it inside the ocean service. And it's very secure, as in because like you would feel that why they are putting it inside the ocean, but it's like very secure because you don't have any dust interaction. Okay, now systems sometimes go down or they do experience failures because a lot of dust is accumulated over the servers, or like a lot of monitoring, or you can say cleanliness is not there, because like humans come in, humans interact with the servers, and a lot of like ongoing is there. If you have a physical setup, like the doors would open again and again, a lot of dust would come in and again settle down on servers. So it may lead to a failure. Whereas if it is inside the ocean, you won't have any kind of risk, or you would say it will work seamlessly without having any maintenance cost or any like monitoring cost there. And it's like one of the experience which has been termed as successful. It's not like a failure. And they are like planning up to put their more servers, more number of servers inside the ocean as well. So that is one recent development which they are working on. And again, this is one of the things we discussed earlier, where you have identity and access management also. So this is particularly on private clouds, where you define the roles, as in who would be the owner, who would be the manager, who would be the person who would like look into security, who would be the person who would be looking into deployment. So all of those roles, access management has to be is like provided by Microsoft Azure. And it is defined as an infrastructure as a service and platform as a service capabilities, as in it has both the capabilities. And like again, all of these adjectives or some of the features which we discussed previously, all of those are provided by Microsoft Azure. So it's quite efficient, and it's quite, you know, like it's well, it's like ready to go model, as in you just have particular idea, you come up to Azure and you can easily you can easily finish up with your idea, and you can scale it very easily without having wasting any time. Documentation is there, it's like very much available there, and it's very easy also to refer. And like you can like create your own application within 5 minutes or something. It doesn't take 1 hour or something also, so it's very easy. So you have like more than 200 services, not 100 services. You have more than 200 services now, and like you have a lot of software paradigms. As in, you have these days coming up with AI chatbots. You have intelligent chatbots. You have AR, VR, mixed reality, and all those concepts are coming up, you can integrate it easily with your particular applications. As in, chatbots are something which are very considered to be providing a lot of user interaction. So you can have those machine learning AI based chatbots so that your users don't have to, like go to specific sections and search for specific data, or something like medical related a website is there. You can, like, user puts his symptoms and you give him the remedy or something, like whatever service you're providing. So that way, chatbots, and easily you can, like, put up your applications over using Microsoft Azure. And it's a good way to, like, start with Azure, because it doesn't have any compulsion that you have to create new applications from scratch. You can have existing applications also, like, you can have existing applications and you can integrate very easily. Okay, so this is just a repeated slide, I guess. Yes. So challenges are everywhere. As in, okay, we talked a lot good about Microsoft Azure. We talked everything about it, and it's like more than what I was expecting. Okay, I was continuing my explanation. So we discussed a lot about advantages. So it's not like everything is advantages in this world. Okay, it doesn't mean that AWS or Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, everything is 100% accurate, 100%, 100% like efficient in that. It's not like that. Everyone has their own cons. So it depends on, like, what the major factors where you have to focus on is that how much time your services are up for. And the second question is how much data you lost. Okay, when your services are down, how much data you lost, or when any attack happens, how much your data is lost. So these are the two questions which depend on the choice you make, whether you want to go for Google, whether you want to go for Microsoft provider. It's your particular, these two questions would have a major weightage on these particular choices that you make on the cloud service provider. So uptime is a thing. And we will now look into, like, Node.js. Okay, so Node.js is a very simple, it's like a very useful framework for writing server-side JavaScript. Okay, just I can say a very, I can say a very brief intro on the history of this. So V8 is the engine which is used in Chrome for running your JavaScript code. It is a very popular engine which is used in Chrome. So it is responsible for running your JavaScript code in Chrome. Okay, now the inventor of Node.js, what he did is he took this V8 engine out of the Chrome and he inserted it inside a C++ code. And now what he called that as Node. And that is what this framework came up with. So that is what a small history for you in Node.js. So he just took that V8 engine of Chrome, that running V8 engine of Chrome, and he inserted that into C++ code of his own. And that is how Node.js was implemented, or you can say invented. So it's a framework that is mainly dependent, or you can say responsible for writing server-side JavaScript applications. And it like uses event-driven applications or real-time applications. Okay, it's not much used for static applications, though you can use, but mainly it is used for real-time applications. Some of the leading companies, I can say, in the world today, in the present market, which I have personally seen, are, you can say, Netflix, PayPal, Walmart is there, and even, I guess, I was reading some article, even Uber uses Node.js for their platforms. So it has a very wide kind of a use case in that. And Node.js is a coming up framework, you can say. It's like very popular, becoming very popular day by day among the developers. They are choosing Node as their backend, you can say, framework for their projects, also for their whatever company, organization projects as well. So Node is, like, often you can say it's used for getting the data, sending the data through an backend service. You can say it as an API. So API serves as an interface between different programs so that they are able to talk to each other. Okay, so a web app and a mobile app below can leverage the same API to store data, send emails, you can say push notifications, or initiate some workflows. Workflows are, you can say it as steps, as in what happens after you put your code into a particular project, what should happen, whether it should test your code, whether it should directly merge it into the code, the existing code, or what it should do. So that particular workflow also is initiated on the server using Node.js. And it has a very, you can say, a very easy kind of an architecture. So every browser that has their own JavaScript engine, they convert it to a low level language such that the computer language can understand. So Microsoft Edge uses Chakra, And Firefox uses Spider Monkey. Chrome uses V8 engine, as we discussed. So JavaScript code can behave differently in other browsers. Okay, it's because different browsers use different engines. So it's not like everything is good to go and all those things. So yes, that is what one of the things I had to cover. And now moving forward with the, you can say, Express.js, which is an very lightweight, you can say a very minimalistic web framework for Node.js. So it is used for, like, it is a very minimal and flexible Node.js web application that provides a robust set of features for creating your HTTP request. As in, it's mainly focused toward HTTP request. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to make those requests from that. So like we'll jump up to the intro of that. As in, we have, I think I overshot at the time, but we have till 6:30. So I'll show you a quick demo on that. Okay, and like look into that. So I have my VS, as in I'll open my, okay, let me share my screen first, as in just one quick thing. So yes. So I will open my command prompt from here. Okay, so command lines are very, as an I prefer always working with command lines rather than going with graphical user interfaces. So what I'll do, I have my one of the projects as in a sample project specified. Okay, sorry. So first of all, I'll go to my desktop and then I'll go to my MS Cloud folder, which has a sample project ready for you. So if I write code dot, it will open that particular code in VS Code. Okay, so here you can see what code I have written. Okay, so here you can see very first line. Okay, I'll zoom a bit, maybe if I can. Yes. Yes, the first line which you can see, I have used Express, as in I'm importing, requiring Express to run this application. And in the eighth line, I'm making a get request, as in I'm getting the data. REQ means request and RES means response. So what response is basically I want to give to the user when he makes a particular request. I can very easily cater to that particular requirements of the same. So Express is like very useful. Otherwise, you can use Vanilla.js, which is also one of the things you can use for catering to your HTTP request. Otherwise, Express is very efficient, as in it's very easy to make those things. You can make get request, post request, and it's very easily. You can append your files also. So it's very efficient framework. And here is a very sample website, which I'll now seriously now deploy it. Okay, so what I can do is that I can show you, first of all, package.json, which is like you can say an index kind of a document which gives you what dependencies this particular project has or what particular requirements are there for running this project. So you can see EJS is there, which is like you can say it's like embedded JavaScript templating. It's the full form is embedded JavaScript templating, which is like allows you to embed JavaScript into your template language, and it can be used to generate HTML. So if some of you have used PHP, you would realize that you can use PHP and also you can use HTML code inside that. Similarly, in EJS, you can use JavaScript into your template language or whatever language you're using to generate an HTML code. So that is what EJS helps you to do that. Node modules is like reusable code, as in all of these are modules which are installed for running this project. You can easily reuse this code and you can easily make use of them to easily deploy your application or like create your application, not deploy. Okay, so now I can go forward with Microsoft Azure. Like Priyash can share that document link in the WhatsApp group, like that has all the steps. That has all the steps which are mentioned for the demo.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sharing.
so yeah, so he can do that and you can follow it. Even this session has been recorded. I will be a bit quick in that. Okay, so this is the portal which we are talking about, like Microsoft Azure. You can see a lot of services are there. If I click on all services, you can see a lot of services there, which includes AI, machine learning on the left side. You can see compute, networking, all of those facilities are there. You can look into that. If you have a free student account, you can look into that. Since I am registered with MLSA, they have given me like $20 worth of credits every month so that I can use it for my project purposes. Okay, so that is why I am having an account which I can use it. You can, being a student, you can also have a free account, which you can activate using your institution email. So that link is also shared in the WhatsApp, as in it's in the group description. You can access and make an account, and you can try out all other things. Now for particular demo purpose, I'm using app services. So I will just go with that. I will create a new app service. Here it's asking me for subscription. I'll just go with the default one. I will create one sample, I would say my own resource group, which is cloud. Okay, it's already existing. Let me go with something like MLSA test. Okay. Well, I think that cursor is like that cursor has having some problems, but let me try again refreshing. MLSA test. Okay. Yes, now it's working. Now I can give an, you can say an web app name. Let me give it as cloud test only. Okay, sorry. It's available. I already used it somewhere else, so I'll use it cloud MLSA. I'm publishing using my, like I have my own code, so I'm using it like publishing using that code. We are using Node.js. I'm using Node 16 version. LTS means long-term support, so I'm using that. My operating system is Windows, doesn't matter. It's just for creating an web app. Region, as you can see, a lot of regions are available here. I would be like going with the default one, which is Central US. Otherwise, you can also go with Central India, doesn't matter. I'm just going with default ones. I have this Windows plan. Again, I'm not changing this. If you are doing this demo, okay, be very particular about this SKUN size. Please just change it. Click on your Dev test and click on this F1. It's a free, you can say a specification picker. Whereas the default one which they have provided is a paid one. It's named as standard S1. You don't have to go with that. Please select F1 and click on apply. So it's a free F1, as you can see. Other things you don't have to touch anything, and you can just click on review and create. Once you did that, you again have to click on create just to like confirm the details which are put in. You can just confirm that and you can validate. Okay, so once you did that, you have to wait for you can say 2 minutes or something for it to deploy successfully. Okay, by that time we'll go to GitHub and we'll create a repository where we can post our codes. Okay, so GitHub, like everyone would be familiar with this particular platform. It gives you a platform to like host your remote repositories, your local repositories. It provides an application. It's an application to like host your repositories online. So like, let me create one repository and yes. Okay, so let me create it as public and let me create the repository. Again, cursor is having some problem. Let me refresh and try again. Cloud MLSA is the name I'm giving, and public repository and create a repository. Fine. There's some error. Yeah, I think my screen had got stuck. I'll just refresh and do that again. Yes. So I just refreshed and now we'll do the name things. I'll create this repository. I'm not sure. Again, it's stuck. Okay, fine. Fine. It's not allowed. Uh, just a last try. Otherwise, you can. Just Because it's like before the event, some update happened, and I'm not sure what happened with the cursor, but it's not responding properly. It's yeah, I can't click this create repository button, but if you can, you just create that repository. Let me open it in new window and see. Let me try it just last try to that. Really sorry for that. Okay, but otherwise every step is mentioned in your like that demo documentation which Priya should have shared. Okay, so you can follow that. I am just trying it last time. Okay.
Can use tab buttons.
Okay. It's not letting me. Let me like stop sharing, and then if I can like click, maybe let me try that. Okay, so
Maybe try changing the browser.
yeah, I can. Me go to incognito mode and then I can try. Yes, that's fine.
Guys, till then you can go through the doc. I've shared it on the
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
yeah. I guess it's not allowing only. I think that particular button is frozen for me. So yeah, like yeah, really sorry about that, but fine. Okay, you just have to put your code inside that, and I'll show you the like post steps which you have to follow so that you can do it. Or otherwise, what I'll do is that I'll record a demo specific video and I'll share it in the group so that you can follow that. Also, it would be better because now it's not allowing. It doesn't make any point to waste time also. So yes.
Guys, Hariket's screen got stuck. He'll be joining in a few minutes.
Can you hear me? As in, I have joined it using my phone. So because
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that laptop actually some automatic update started on its own, though I had scheduled it for late in the evening, still it started. So really sorry about that, as in it has completely shut down. So that is why I can't, as in do the demo. It will shoot up the time, obviously. So rather, better it would be like I'll record it very slowly so that you can follow along, and you can like have a very you can say I'd explain also like other services which Azure offers in that video. So it will be a short 5 minute only video, or I'd make it 3 minutes max, so that you can watch it in your free time, and you can just deploy your code using Azure services. So what basically, like I'll tell you a brief about what I had to show. So it will automatically, like I had to make a CI/CD pipeline where it will allow you to push your code, and as soon as you push your code, it will like deploy your website automatically, and you can say it, you don't have to manually do anything. So it, because of a CI/CD pipeline, any change you make, even if it's a semicolon or any specific change, it will automatically deploy, and it will automatically reflect on your Azure website which you are deploying. So that is what we had to do using GitHub, as in I would have shown you GitHub Actions how it works. So that is one thing which I'll show you in the demo video which we'll be circulating in the group. So, like, yeah, that is what we had to cover today. And I really hope that you got to learn about cloud computing, and like we had a really broad discussion about this field and how Microsoft Azure offers you services. So, like, really thank you for joining this event, and any feedback, if anything you felt, or you like, you are free to share, and you can unmute and you can talk. If you have any doubts also, you can say.
No doubts as of now.
Okay.
It was an amazing session, Hariket.
Thank any
Hi,
particular
I just
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to ask you that will this recording be available in case I need it for future purposes?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, thanks a lot. Also, you were talking about some attendance form. We haven't received
Yes,
it
yes,
yet.
yes. We'll circulate it in the group itself. Okay,
Okay.
and whosoever responded in Menti, or like all those who were active in the particular event, they will be getting all of the perks, and certificate is for all of you. Badge would be provided according to your like joining time and all those things. We don't have very strict policy, so it's like almost all of you would be getting the same. And once you fill in the attendance form, we'll try to send it to you almost instantly. So, like, we are planning it to keep it open till I will say tomorrow 12 p.m. So you can fill the form by 12 p.m. tomorrow. As soon as we close the form, you will get your certificates in your registered email address. And please make sure like you fill your details very carefully, because like we have to generate certificates on our own, so that like any mistake you make in filling your name or something, we can't like actually regenerate the certificate. So that's why be very sure in your spellings and initials whatever you're filling. And yes, again, once again, very thank you like joining on Sunday evening. It's like really appreciable, and I hope you got to learn from this event. Any like particular topic you want like the MLSs to cover, you can post it up, and you can put it up in the feedback also if you want. We'll surely try to bring it up, like we'll make that event happen soon. And yes, once again, thanks a lot.
Uh,
The links, yes.
I have a doubt
Hmm,
regarding selecting the runtime stack when we create the
hmm,
resource.
hmm.
How to choose my runtime stack? It depends on my program files or what?
Yeah, like it depends on your runtime files also. It depends on like what version you're using, as in if like what particular language you are using. Like if it's Java, if it's C sharp, if it's like PHP or Node version, you have to select it according to that.
So
So
if
it
I'm
depends on,
using JavaScript, what should I select?
as in it would be mostly you would say Node only, because JavaScript is like they don't have this differentiation in Azure. You can like very plainly, straightly select Node.js for that, even though you are not using it. So you can do that.
Okay,
Otherwise,
actually,
I can suggest you I can suggest you one thing. You can go for static web apps, which is also another thing in Azure. So if you are like specifically moving towards static website, you can use static use case for that, where you don't have to put runtime stack and all those things. It will easily deploy your website.
okay.
Hmm.
I actually have a particular doubt. I tried already deployment in Azure, but I'm
Okay.
facing some errors.
Okay.
So can I ask it now, or should
Yeah,
I?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. As in, if you have any screenshot or something, you can share it to me in personal also, so that I can look and guide you accordingly.
Uh, okay. Shall I
Hmm.
share it now or later?
Yeah, yeah. It's depends on you. As in, if you want to share it here, you can also.
Okay, I'll say the error message.
Okay.
It says that it does not contain an MS build solution or packages.config file.
Yes. Okay. So this comes when you don't have a default file attached to your project, because by default it like expects you to have an index.js file. It is possible that you are using some other name convention. That is why you have to put an ms config file where you are telling Azure to use that your particular default file as your index file, as in the main file to deploy. So that is one thing which I think I can provide you in the documents itself, how that ms config file has to be written, because that has a particular syntax to follow. So I can attach that in the documents, as in you can just copy paste and you can do that.
Okay, if possible, please stay with me. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I'll message you in private.
Okay,
Uh,
sure.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a doubt. It was
Okay.
a really a great session, and just now since we have like free access on Azure for some time,
Hmm.
can you please suggest some resources to learn the skills and apply it on Azure?
Okay, yeah. So Microsoft itself has Microsoft Learn. Okay, you have modules there. A lot of modules are there, and you don't even have to create an account. Okay, many people don't like to create accounts also. It's like open platform where you have modules. You can even, it's not like modules, but it's like projects also are there. You have self-paced courses, so you can start that course. Like whole documentation kind of thing is there, step 1, step 2, and all those things they are mentioned. You can start learning. So that particular resource is there, which is offered by Microsoft itself. I would say it's the best. Other resources you can look up into, like Coursera or Udemy courses, because why I'm not focusing you to go to YouTube or something like that, because they are not focused, as in they are, as in the learning won't be focused. You deviate a lot from the topic where you're focusing. Coursera and Udemy courses are like more structured, and you will remain in that whole particular domain and you'll learn a lot, and you'll like have a structured learning. So that's why I would suggest you to go with learning modules, or like go for a particular course. And if you want, like I would give you some websites where you can like get those courses for free, because for Coursera and Udemy, I think mostly courses are paid. So we'll share that links also in the group. You can access maybe some of the courses for free, the bestseller ones. So yes, that is one thing which we can do. And yes, that would be.
Yeah, and since we have like Coursera free,
Hmm.
since like college ID.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're free, then it's fine only. As in, it's the best you can make use of that. And just like one liner thing, if any one of you is interested for MLSA, it's very easy process. As in, if you are inspired by technology, if you are someone who is inspired, or you can say motivated towards teaching others, or you can say someone who is like proficient in marketing, or you can say promoting events, you surely can apply for being an MLSA. It doesn't require you to be some, you can say, senior or you can say an experienced person. You can join this community, you can learn, you can work on your skills, and then you can actually help your peers and basically your student community to grow and prosper as well. For joining, if like I'm just keeping it on for 2 minutes, if any one of you want to have any discussion or talks, you can do. Otherwise, we'll close after 2 minutes.